Is now the time for a new political party? A party which doesn't carry the baggage of the past. With Labour increasingly in the grip of the Corbynite left, although not supported by the majority of Labour MPs, and the Tories becoming the party of Brexit, a policy not backed by the majority of Tory MPs, there is a real gap. A gap that could be filled by a party that supports enterprise, but makes sure businesses are paying proper taxes. A gap for a party which stands for a fairer society, a party which believes the ever-growing gap between the haves and the have-nots in Britain is unacceptable. Existing politicians have lined up to say a new party has no chance. But they would say that, wouldn't they? That's what they said in France. And look what happened there. We are told that £50 million has been raised to launch this new party. But will it succeed? I, for one, hope it does.
So, Greg, you're calling for a change, aren't you?
I'm calling for a change.
A change in British politics. No, you're calling for a party that believes in proper taxes. Greg, you're calling for a party that believes in a fairer society, the gap between the have and the have-nots.
Yep.
What if I can remind you of the manifesto of the last general election?
Democrats.
Change.
Exactly
That's
right.
a party known as the Liberal Democrats. If I now share with you the percentage of vote won by the Liberal Democrats in the general election last year, that was 7.4%, the lowest turnout almost on record, not wholly on record, in many years. And the share of vote for the two main parties in last year's general election, 82.4%, almost an all-time high. The case is dismissed, Greg.
No, the all-time high actually was 95%.
OK,
so just to help you.
Where is the appetite?
No,
apart from with trendy Liberals like you, who see the demise of your beloved Labour Party. You're eating your couscous, you're sitting there in your fancy restaurants eating polenta and drinking Chilean wine and saying, oh, David Lammy and Chuka Amuna, we need a new party. Greg Dyke.
You were sitting next to me, weren't you, drinking the Chilean wine, I think. No, it's not the argument. The argument is that there is a vacuum appearing. That actually there's one party that's gradually going that way and one party that's growing that way, and actually there are a lot of people in the middle who would like, I suspect, to support a new party. Now, why they didn't vote for the Liberals, because the Liberals represented some of that, is that they didn't have the confidence in them. It's as simple as that.
You talked about, you made the comparison with France, you know, you said that why don't we do what France has done? You know, there's been you can't compare us to France, it's nothing like it. There's been a massive decline in France for the support of established parties, and particularly the Socialists, and Macron served under the Socialists as economy minister.
And it was Macron versus the National Front.
And when you look at what happened in their last general election, only they're so fed up with the main parties, only 47% of the people turned out to vote. In this election this year, it was the highest turnout in 25 years. The Tories, let me finish, the Tories got their highest vote share since 1983, and Labour, their support went up by 10%. So, you know, and on aggregate, that means 80% of support for the mainstream parties. So you can't compare them.
Well, can I just say something? As the Lib Dem on this table,
the only one,
as the one who ran as a Lib Dem in 2015, but prepared to be objective.
How did that work out?
Not very well. It got me here, though, didn't it? I'm sitting right here, quite happy, thank you very much. But actually, what I'll say is, I think we're kind of missing Greg's point, really, right? And it's not about the Lib Dems. Frankly, I've been quite neutral on that topic for a while now. It's actually about the fact that we all know the following. We all know that the space that Blair occupied and the space that Cameron occupied is a space that currently is up for grabs. That's all he's saying, right, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, you want
that's all he's saying.
party.
And there's no debate there.
If you said that, it would make more sense.
That's it. And so I don't think it's going to happen, right? I don't think, because of the nature of our first past the post system, which is what we have, different to France. You know, Macron, last thing I'll say, Macron ran in a national poll where the public could vote for, in a PR system, they could vote for their leader. We don't have that. And so all this malarkey about percentages, the problem with it's actually a constituency-based system, winner takes all. And so even if in every constituency somebody gets third across the country, which means they end up with, say, whatever, 30% of the votes, with what, 10 seats?
It's not just that, there's an appetite for voting here. There wasn't an appetite in France for voting.
I think we're looking at this slightly the wrong way round, right? We're looking at this as if the two main parties have drifted more to the extremes, leaving everyone, all the voters behind. Actually, I think, and I don't know why, maybe it's because I come on this programme once in a while, it feels as if the country is becoming more polarised and the parties are actually reflecting a drift in the electorate, that people on the left are becoming further to the left and people on the right are moving further to the right. And if you ask people, is what they're yearning for Cameron or Blair 2.0, I don't think you'd find many people excited by the idea of that, because I think that project ultimately left people feeling very disillusioned. So while I like the idea of a new party, I think that we need a more interesting marketplace in politics. It's feeling like the 1980s all over again. It's not feeling like politics for a modern era, to me. And I think that the more parties, the more voices you have, the healthier democracy is.
Let me just ask you all, you've all got one of these.
What are we doing?
So there is a question that you've all got to be asked, is how many new parties have been set up in the last 3 years, i.e. registered as new parties in Britain?
How many
new parties? Write it on here. You write your number.
OK.
Right.
What does the winner get?
The winner gets
to lead a new party.
To lead a new party, yeah.
All right.
And I'll give you a second one. How many do you think were set up in January this year?
Oh, that means there's more than
Oh, yeah, there's more than...
I've just seen what you put for it.
Right, there's no changing now. You can't log it
I've just seen what you...
Right, let's see your answers.
How
many new parties?
Since January.
5 and 3.
5 and 3. How many do you think?
I've got 6 and 3.
Right.
21 and 6.
Right. The answer is 109.
No, get on.
Yes, the answer is 109. Now, some of them...
Well, it does look better than yours.
Well, Nick, that's 20% you got, but I mean, it's still quite... Now, some of them are wonderful. They've got wonderful names. I mean, my favourites were the Rubbish Party, which I think is quite interesting.
Yeah,
and the other one is the 99% Party. Yeah. Which means that there's still 1% for you to join, Catherine.
But listen, you're talking about, do you remember when the SDP was formed? And it was a mixture of the Liberals and, what do you call them? And the Democrats. Yeah. So when that was formed, there were some huge big beasts in that party. There were former cabinet ministers, David Owen, Shirley Williams, Roy Jenkins, all of those people. Who would be the big beast now who would lead your new party? Because from where I'm looking,
I think that's one of two problems. I think to have a new party, you either need like a mass move, a popular movement,
or you need beasts.
A very charismatic leader.
So who are the beasts?
No,
you don't
even
have
with
either.
those two factors, it won't happen because of the nature.
No, I don't. Who are the beasts?
Who are the beasts?
I'm not talking about who should lead. I can give you some names. David Miliband.
Oh, please don't talk about David Miliband. He hasn't lived here for 6 or 7 years.
That doesn't exclude
him, does it?
He wasn't good enough to get the Labour leadership. He's certainly not good enough to lead.
What do you mean? He was defeated by certain sections of the trade union movement.
He got stabbed in his back, wasn't
Also,
I'm glad to see you're supporting the trade union movement, Caroline. It's the first time
I've always been a member of one, Greg. Always.
I know. Well, that's why they became more right-wing over the years. Yeah, I was for a long time. No, I'm not saying necessarily this is going to happen. What I'm saying is I personally think there's an appetite for it. But I agree with you, without leadership, it doesn't work. No. Without somebody who can come and lead. If a Chuka and Muna chose to leave the Labour Party, and you can see circumstances. I mean, the trouble with British politics...
Without leadership and without electoral reform...
No, the trouble with...
Muna is not your man either.
The trouble with British politics is it's so tribal, is that... you've got people in the Labour Party now who you look at what they stand for and you look at what the Labour Party stands for, they shouldn't be in the same party.